Hello everybody, welcome back to Minecraft on the Block. This is the Krafters Minecraft FTB server, and as usual I'm on alone for now, but hopefully it'll change soon. Sarkaz will be back. And I've done some prep work, so you can see I have a second tower over there, and I've got, well, it's not on me, but I have over there a kinetic generator and a wind turbine waiting for us. So I got a lot of feedback. I was actually just about ready to give up and start down the path of biogas to produce the energy that we wanted. And I got a bunch of feedback from people on potential ways that we could fix the problem that we had. Oh, by the way, I found another dungeon. I have a canopy tree sapling, which that was from the Twilight, but I have mundane larch, balsa, desert acacia. So you guys have told me that I need to do 2x2 for both of these to try to get them to grow, but these, I believe I can get them to grow with just some bone meal. So we'll try that later. So I need to find 3 more of each of those saplings. I don't even know how you do that or if it's possible, but a couple of things. So yeah, so people gave me a lot of great responses on, I also got a thalmium axe and a thalmium sword and some knowledge fragments, just so you're caught up. So anyway, a bunch of people gave me feedback on how to deal with the red power power system, and a couple of I got so much feedback that I can't really give proper credit to all the people that gave me specific things, but it was all very, very helpful. In fact, we're going to harvest some string while I talk about this because it turns out that we need a lot of it. So anyway, so yeah, we're gonna attempt one more time to get this thing running and working as it should. People have said that, like, if you're doing it right, one of those Buildcraft blue electric engines should produce like 30 millijoule or micro Minecraft joules, which is what I've heard as well. So that's why I was kind of confused. But that requires that the system be fully. I guess the word that I heard used that I really liked that helped me understand everything was pressurized. Basically that think of it as like a liquid network where the system has to be pressurized for it to be putting out the proper amount of power. And so that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it now. And I'm not sure that's going to help me or not, but we're going to give it a shot. So yeah, and it does make sense because a couple of things I'll show you when we get over there. Just behavior that I couldn't really figure out, and now it makes sense to me. So I brought everything over, and I was just messing around with like having one engine running straight off of one of those things, and everything was kind of just, I was just messing around. I had it all set up, and I still wasn't. Once I had a battery box fully charged, this thing was just climbing up. This charged in like probably 15 seconds, all 4,800 millijoules. So it was really nice, and it was working really fast. And so I figured out that there was definitely something going on. And right now, you can see that I don't have this one connected. This one's not running, and this one's not even up at all. And I just wanted to kind of show you what I'm doing. So this is going to be the second one. People also mentioned that having it higher would help. And so I'm going to try that, even though I'm not sure how much help it's going to be. But this one's at least a little higher than that one. And I then just ran the 10K wire down. So there's a transformer up there and a transformer up there. It comes out of the machine with the regular wire, the blue alloy, and then it comes down with the 10K wire. And those both come down, and they'll go under here, and then they'll run up into this transformer, which will run into these bat boxes, which then goes out of that transformer. And we'll go over to our power station. Now, I think I want the bat boxes here because then we can come out of, I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I did the research and I got a lot of feedback, but I still don't think I fully understand everything. So we're just going to give it a shot and see what happens. So what I heard was that really I need basically 1.5 windmills to power one engine properly. And that sounds about right to me. So like 2 windmills per engine basically to just keep everything going. And one engine should give us enough power to run things on a pretty small scale. And then we can kind of increase this once we get that working. If that works, we'll get more of these going, and we'll try it. So let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and get this one started. All I got to do is put a piece of wire up here to make that happen, So there we go. And it's going to start running. And do I have my... I do. There it is. So it's running, and it's already producing quite a bit of energy. And if we come down here, I think we should see these things starting maybe. I don't really know. I think the system has to get pressurized. And I think what that means is that the wires themselves hold energy. So it's not just transmitting wire, but the more wire you have, the more energy you have to produce to pressurize the system. And if you don't get that done right away, then the system will never catch up. And then it'll always just be outputting very little amounts of power. So it's there was a pretty good lesson that somebody sent me. In fact, I probably, before this is over, I should figure out what it was. Somebody had put together a nice little forum post on how all this works. So anyway, we'll mess with that. There we go. There's our second one. And once we do this, that one should start. And it takes a little while for the bearings to get broken in. And I think the rest of it is connected properly. So we should see that one start to spin shortly. And let's go down here and see what we got. So, and I'm kind of half wondering, is this one connected everywhere? Yeah, it's just barely starting to spin now. So, and I've tried this. This, at least I think this works coming straight out of the transformer both ways. I think you can connect those up directly to the battery boxes because they basically act like wire. All machines do. Okay, so let's let this get going a little bit. Is that going to turn? I got to sleep anyway. Let me pause and get this going, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, I don't know if nothing is happening yet. I don't know if I said this, though, but I wanted to say that, so you can pick these up, these battery boxes, and they will keep whatever charge they had in them. And so I had this hooked up to where it was just sitting right here. They were sitting over here at the base of this thing, and it was running into it, and I was messing around. I had the motor turned off, and they had gotten fully charged. And so they were fully charged on both sides. I'm not sure the whatever. Anyway, they were fully charged. I picked them up, and they all stacked together because they all had the same amount of charge. And then when I set them down and connected them to the network, they just drained. And I think what happens is that energy is just draining into the network, pressurizing the rest of the system again. So that's the idea. And that was kind of, I don't know if I already said that, but I wanted to make sure I brought that up. So now these things are just sitting there, not spinning at all. So there must be no wind right now. Let's go make sure that's a true statement. Or very little wind. You can tell by looking at the kinetic generator itself. Yeah, no wind. And I don't think it's because of anything obstructing it. At least it doesn't seem like it would be. It just seems like there's no wind. And so that happens, which is unfortunate. Yeah, zero wind. And I think it would show, I don't know. I mean, this one for sure should have wind because there's nothing obstructing it at all. And we're up quite a ways. So I'll wait for some wind. I'll be back. I guess they are slowly but surely coming back. And I'm still recording at 60 frames a second, which seems like it's going to just kill me. Oh, no, there we go. I did want to mention, though, that I am going to try to actually record at a higher quality this time in fraps, not in the size. I'll still upload at 720, but I would appreciate feedback as to whether or not it looks a little bit better. Anyway, okay, so I wanted to mention also that there was an update to the mod pack or the launcher and the mod pack, and one of the things that it did was allow me to right click with you can do the shift right click again without changing. See how when you shift right click right now it changes the different versions. It's just like either in or out, which is interesting. There seems like there's something a little different. Anyway, point being, it was when you shift right click on a chest it used to make a change, and it doesn't seem to do that anymore, so that's good. I'm not sure what else, but it seems like it runs better to me, actually. Like, when I look over there, it actually seems like it runs a lot better. So maybe they fixed some problems. That would be good. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Nothing happening at all. What if we took this out? So there was no flow into that. Yeah, see, that raises it. It's like it's got less to pressurize, and so it seems to work. go see what we're getting here. Still not very good. It doesn't seem like. Huh. Well, maybe what I'll do is just not mess with this for a little bit. Come back over here and see, because supposedly this is going to work. This is going to get me one. Yeah, we got a little bit of wind. This is going to get me one engine up and running at full power if I let it do its thing. So that's starting to kind of work a little bit. Let's see what we got on the way down. Man, it just drops so much. Is that right? But the readings are just not consistent anyway because of the way things work, I think. Okay, so let me let this go. I keep saying that, and then I'll come back. What else were we going to look at this time? Oh, one thing I did want to show you. This is really cool. You guys tell me what you think. I'm a really big fan of this Sortex texture pack. And this is a texture pack that's targeted towards the Direwolf 20 mod pack, but also apparently it works pretty, or I guess it's the Minecraft pack is really a subset of that. And I used to use this in one of my old vanilla Let's Plays, and I love this texture pack, and I would like to see what you guys think. I keep going back to this Fax texture pack, but this one is just slick looking. It's just really smooth. Like if you look at even this building, the only thing that really is a problem with this building is that it has black around the glass, which makes this like just a completely black building. It doesn't even look like glass anymore, but the stone, look at that. It's just super smooth, and everything looks really, really nice. Just kind of really fine. The water is kind of, really see-through. It looks, I like it. I like everything about it. All of the textures look really good. Some of them are actually missing, but this is nice. So these seem to be default, maybe? It's hard to say. Anyway, so I was playing with this a little bit before, but I went back to the other, I can't remember exactly why. There was something that sparked me to want to go back, but yeah, but it seems to work for all of the different machines and interfaces and stuff too, so just something to keep in mind. Also, I keep noticing that this tree over here has spider webs on it. I've seen a couple like that, and I don't know, I guess that's just, I don't think it's anything special. It's just kind of a little touch. Like this one doesn't have it, but that one over there does. I don't know if it's the biome or something, but anyway, it's kind of cool little touch. And what else? I think that's it for now. So I'm going to do, I love the sun too. Looks really nice. Yeah, it's just a really nice texture pack. So you guys can give me some feedback and let me know what you think. I took this out to, I think you guys were there for that. So anyway, I will let this thing pressurize and I'll be back. All right, guys, one additional piece of information I just found is on this website I was looking at. It's feedthebeast.com threads, a player's guide to Red Power 2 blutricity. And in it, they say that if you have a choice of where to put your battery boxes, put them as close to the generating source as possible. So if this is our generating source, we put it here, and that's going to allow us to have a higher, it will affect less when there's a sudden pull of energy out of the network. And so I'm going to try that. So this seems to be working there. Let's see, grab that. I think I'm connected up there correctly. And I don't know what that really means for us, but I grabbed the other one. I'm going to put it over here. So that's really interesting. This is funny. It's not funny, fun. It's fun. The way that you have to basically, design your network around this kind of, that didn't work. Okay. So that thing, yeah, see, that's good right there, except then it equalizes a little bit. Interesting. It's climbing again. So it's like it's not getting full over here, but it's in the green, which seems good. Just because green seems good. So I left one of them down here. I don't really know if that's, it's almost like I'm just trying to kind of provide as much of a chance of stabilizing the network as I can. So that makes this better as well. And I've taken this out. So let's see what happens when we put that back in. Yeah, this thread post is extremely helpful. Okay, so that just drains everything all of a sudden, and then it will stabilize. It goes back up. It doesn't quite make it to green. See how it just kind of fluctuates? It's almost like you can see the wave. You can kind of imagine in your mind the wave fluctuating back and forth. Man, this stuff is starting to look pretty cool, though, if you ask me. Which no one did. Let's see. I think I took out one piece of wood that I wanted to keep in. Where would that be? That would be in here. Oh, another thing I was going to mention. I don't know what you guys can tell me what you think. So these are spruce wood planks, right? If I put that down, let's see. What does the redwood plank look like? Is it any different in this texture pack? It is. It's lighter. Okay. So what's interesting is people have always said that you can't really, you don't have a difference in the planks, because see how this just says wooden plank cover, but it definitely matches whatever the type of wood that I get it from, even though it doesn't. I think I think that's what the metadata is on the, you can see on the, I'm pointing to it, you can't see it, but on the block ID, I think it is the way that it keeps track of it, even though it doesn't look like you can get different types of plank covers or micro blocks out of wood. I think you can. And it seems like that's working. Okay, so let's go see what's happening up here. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Apparently I don't have the tool that I wanted. There we go. So that's got a lot of watts coming down. That's really good. It seems good anyway. And this, now see, it's kind of stabilized. It's when I hook that thing back up down there, because that's a long distance. Now the question is it going to work? Is it going to ever build up? It seems like it is kind of slowly. Man, that's a good looking. I really do like this texture pack a lot. Let's see. Yeah, see, they've all kind of neutralized, and then if I get rid of this, I think it jumps up again. Just kind of peeking into the green. Okay, so there's obviously more that I have to learn. I shall return. All right, more information time. So a couple of things. This post is really good. You guys need to go check it out. Just do a player's guide to Red Power 2 Blutricity, and you should find it. But a couple of things. So really interesting. It says, it's talking about basically the power input and output of things, and a thermopile, which is just, well, let's look it up real quick. I've never actually built one. It will allow you to basically transmit thermopile. So it's just some wafers and crap, but it basically, you put one heat, like a lava next to it and ice next to it or something like that, and it will, the heat differences between blocks on either side, it will basically generate energy. But it only generates 50 watts of energy, and depending on the setup, I guess you can get more, but a solar panel will generate 200 watts during the day. So that thing we have over there, that generates 200 watts, which is pretty good. 100 watt average when you average it over day or night, right? So a horizontal windmill, which is the one I didn't build, so it would spin like that. That one will generate up to 1,000 watts or 2,500 watts, depending on the wind. And the vertical wind turbine, which is the one that we have, will generate up to 5,000 watts, depending on the wind. And right now you can see that it's generating 1,200. So we're not getting a lot of wind, but we're getting a lot of watts, more than we could get with anything else anyway. Interestingly, if you look at what we have here, we have 86 volts. Okay. So, well, let me go through the power draw first. So a furnace or an alloy furnace will pull 1,000 watts. Sorters pull very little. They pull almost nothing. They under 5 watts. A blue electric engine will pull 1,000 watts per millijoule per tick, right? Generated. So up to 32 kilowatts. So 32,000 watts. So interestingly, this So if you can provide it that much, you can get a lot of Minecraft joules out of it. So interestingly, right now we're producing 86 volts. Machines begin to operate around 60 volts, which is why our engine worked fine. I mean, it was operating, even though it wasn't operating efficiently, at around 60 volts. A battery box will begin discharging itself at about 80 volts, and that means that it will start to output energy when it's receiving 80 volts. I believe that's what it means. And it's going to begin charging itself at around 90 volts. Okay. And so right now we have 86 volts coming right here, right? Pretty consistently, because this thing is almost not moving at all. So that's why it's not charging itself. And I believe that has something to do with the network again. Apparently using this what we're calling this high voltage wire, it's actually medium voltage wire. There will be 100 kV wire. This is just 10,000 volt wire, but there will be 100,000 volt wire. And it talks about if you want to be able to transfer large amounts of power over distance, you should use these, but they take a long time because they have self-capacitance. So that's what I was talking about, the kind of the pressurized system. They hold power. They require power to kind of, I don't know, like I said, pressurize. But if you look at this, we're getting like right there, we're at, well, let's see. Yeah, this is the higher volts, right? This is 866.5 volts. And if you look at that when it gets over here, it's going to be really low, or at least it was a minute ago, because the system hadn't been pressurized. So you can see that it goes down as we go, 77 watts. See how the wattage is dropping. The voltage isn't dropping, but the wattage is dropping as we go. And I believe, and then when you come out of this machine, so like right here, it's basically nothing, no watts. And then when you come out of here, it's 1.2 watts, right? And 86 volts. So these machines would run, but they wouldn't be getting the wattage that they need, right? So power versus joules. So it's I don't know. Read the post. There's a bunch of stuff in there about it, and I don't remember enough about all this stuff to do it justice. But right now we're getting very, very little here, and I believe that's because it's taking a long time for us to charge this up. So what I'm going to do, I think I have enough. I have 58. I don't know if that'll get me there. What I'm going to do is replace all of this medium voltage cabling in my system with the regular blue wire, and see how the system behaves in that instance. Supposedly that's going to be a lot easier to pressurize it. I mean, apparently once you get this system working with this wire, it'll be fine, but it just takes a really long time to get that power going. I'm just curious to see how things will behave if I take out this wire, at least in this little small network that we have, and replace it with the blue wire. So I'm going to try that and I'll be right back. Okay, so the results weren't quite as black and white as I had hoped. So the system is charging, and it's basically fully charged now. I've definitely noticed, so that you can see we're getting 112 volts now. We're getting over the 100 volt reading that I would expect when things are fully charged, because it's basically when the system is completely charged, everything should be operating at 100 volts, or thereabouts, I guess. And so now the system is fully charged because this isn't fluctuating anymore. I've removed this part of the system. I was curious as to see what would happen when I put it back, to see if things would start to fluctuate, and they do. This drops immediately, right, because the power is being pulled, and then it climbs back up, and I'm not sure where it's gonna end up. Let's go look at these real quick. These were fully charged, and they seem like they still are. Whoa. See, and that's what they do, is if you have the battery box close to the power generating sources, then they can withstand that pull. But you can see it's actually dropping a little bit, so I'll bet you this is going to be below 100. Yep, 96, and this is below 100. So the system is not fully charged because of this situation. And then if we go and take some measurements along here, it's just going to get worse as we go, I would think. Although my watts are still really high, that's good. So the output wattage is not very good, but the volts are high. It's like it's getting to like, let's see, where did the wattage slow down? It seemed like it dropped drastically, but you can't really tell because it's just fluctuating throughout the system. So the same piece of won't read the same every time. Yeah, you can see it's jumping all over the place because it's basically a wave. You can kind of, there you go. You can kind of see the wave going through the system. That's interesting. It kind of goes high and low, so you can see the peaks and valleys of the wave. That's really interesting. So that means that it's still working on, is that true over here? No, it's pretty consistent coming out. So we're nowhere near the wattage that we need here. And I think that's because it's taking all that time for these things to, because this wattage is so low, right? So we need this wattage to be consistently high for this whole thing to charge itself. So what I'm thinking now, well, I'm leaning one of two ways. I either want to just take the system apart, not take it apart, remove all of the high voltage cable out of the system, the medium voltage cable, and try the system with just the low voltage cable, which would mean I need to make a fair bit more. I think I have the materials for it. I made a lot of blue alloy wire. Excuse me, my throat's dry. Made a lot of blue alloy wire, but I can make some more for sure. I mean, I've got the material for it. I just don't want to have a bunch of wire that's totally useless because the blue alloy, well, I guess you can turn it into medium voltage if necessary. So let's see. Yeah, so the system is still not fully charged because on that left side, I'm not sure. I have to figure out what the two different numbers are, but this is the internal storage and this is it's probably volts for, I don't know. I have no idea. Stored power, I don't know. This allows you to just make a pull on the system without decharging it, right? Without depressurizing it. So, yeah, 98. It seems like it's working its way back up. So what I might do is let the system, I might leave it with the lower voltage wire in here. Again, what I'm trying to do is minimize the loss of power. I'm trying to maximize as much power as I can get out of the system. But I guess since I don't understand it, that's going to be hard to do. But I think that what I was trying to do was thinking that any place where I was going to be transmitting power, so basically transformers, battery box and transformer right at the generator source, come down into another battery box that would hold some more, charge for the system, and then out of that. And I thought that this would be the best way to maximize my power use or my power, minimize my power loss. And I don't know if that's true or not, but let's just give this some time. I actually need to grab something to eat anyway, so I'm going to give this some time to charge up and see if the system as it sits, I'm just going to go AFK on top of this building, see if the system as it sits right now will get fully charged and start operating. And if so, then I might put the other wire back in, the high voltage wire over here. Although I just don't know if it's necessary. So anyway, let's do this experiment and I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back and I'm not 100% sure what's going on. So let me tell you what happened. I basically let the system sit. Those things are like at a dead stop, which makes me believe that the brakes have been applied. I don't know if maybe that's what that red light means. I wasn't paying attention when it was, but it's almost like the system is full and that's how you know. I went ahead and replaced these because it was just nothing was happening. It just didn't seem like it was actually doing anything, but everything seems to be full right now. That's really interesting. I think that the brakes are applied, mechanical brakes on those. So the other thing I think is interesting is that the wattage went really low. See how the wattage is now down to like 2 watts? Either there's no wind. I guess I could go look. Let's go look. Let's do that. The wattage is like non-existent, but the volts are up over 100, so it means the system is fully charged. If I had to place my money, I would say that there's wind and the systems have stopped themselves because there's no place to put power. But that's incorrect. There's no wind. So regardless, it seems like the system's fully charged. And, that's too bad. I kind of thought I was figuring something out, but I don't think I am. Unless this doesn't show wind when it's not spinning. I don't know. But everything is charged, and I went with, it didn't take long for this to normalize. So now, I mean, at least everything is the same. It's like 1.9, 2.4. I mean, it's pretty consistently around, whatever. I don't know. And it seems like it's definitely losing wattage. I don't know. Let's go try it. So I figured this is at least a way to see what's going on. Like, all the bat boxes are charged. The system seems to be in in working order, ready to go. Let's get some engine running and just see what kind of output we get. So I think I'm just going to hook it up exactly the way it is. And let's see what happens. That's a solid, no, it's not. It's going to take a minute for it to heat up though anyway. That's cranking though, already. Well, not really. I don't know if it really is cranking. I've seen it crank the joules up much quicker, like 100 at a just. Maybe it's still ramping up. That does look like a solid line though, doesn't it? Whereas before it was kind of a flickering line, which I've always thought had something to do with like the consistency or the amount of power that was getting pushed through. Let's see what's going on in the system now. Yeah, now there's a lot of watts because it's pulling them. But the volts are low, which makes me feel like it. What are the volts back at the head? I'm afraid we're losing voltage, which would be concerning. Because volts are what we... Well, no, I guess the watts are what we need. The volts are higher back here. Maybe it's because there's no wind right now. The system just can't keep up. Because it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't seem that good to me. The only other thing that I would think potentially to try would be just removing this, going straight from the engines into the machines. I'm a little bit concerned. This has got me concerned because I think that I've done everything I can do. Set up a second one, and it still just doesn't seem like it's... I mean, everything is going so slow. I'm tempted to just set up an engine right next to it and see if it works better that way. Yeah, this sucks. This is no better than it was before. Yeah. Pretty consistently around 1,000 watts, but the machine isn't running. It only starts running at 60 volts, and it's only just barely over 60 volts. All right, well, I'm going to play with it a little bit. I'll be back in just a sec. All right, guys, well, I don't know what's going on. We've got higher wattage now. It seems like the system is, the wind's up. And it's kind of is. It's getting higher volts here, like 94, 95. Really weird, really strange. But, and these are charging, so it's back up to full capacity here. But it still just isn't doing what I expected. Although I will say that one engine's doing as good as 5 was, so maybe it's just a matter of needing to get more windmills, and I don't know. Because really, frankly, the windmills, besides needing string, which isn't that big of a deal, if it just meant, if all I needed to do was get like 4 of these windmills going, and I would be golden, then I would just do it. because I don't know. I've invested in this power now. I'd like to see it work, but and it's really, I mean, you just kind of let it go, let it do its thing. You don't worry about it. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. So I think what I'm going to do is just throw this out, ask for some help. Again, you guys have been very helpful. So, the questions I have are, am I doing this right? Which wire should I be using? Should I be using the high voltage wire or the low voltage wire? And do I need to be more patient? What should I expect to get out of that one engine with these two windmills? What should I expect from my system as it sits, and what can I do to make it better? So let's just go with that. I'm going to throw this video up, and hopefully you guys can respond quickly, and we'll start to get some feedback. So anyway, I really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to let me know if you think the video quality is any better. I won't have watched it by the time, or right now I haven't watched it. I probably will have watched it by the time you guys watch it, but let me know if you think the quality is any better and if it's worth it. It's a little bit longer process for me if I do record it at this quality, but it may not make a difference at all. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitter, MinecraftOTB. Comments, I will read every one, especially in this case since I want and need feedback so bad. I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So let me know, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Tell your friends. We'll see you.